what seems to be stopping you from leveling up? And that's more of a 30,000 foot view of kind of identifying what seems to be stopping you from leveling up. So I'll give you guys a personal story on why this is so important. Again, back in 2013, when I decided to take my life seriously, and I was like, okay, let's go make money. Let's go be successful. Let's experience what that's actually like. I kind of inadvertently ran these series of questions on myself. And it didn't take me very long, y'all, to figure out that it was women in every single box. It was girls. Who wastes your time? Girls. Who wastes your money? Girls. Who's stealing your energy? Girls. What's hurting your new relationship? Exes. Girls. What bad habits do you have? Going back to exes and constantly trying to look for attention. What seems to stop you from leveling up? And it didn't take me very long to figure out that I was the common denominator in all my problems. I was the person that was stopping me from leveling up. Now, girls was the main thing, right? Like I mentioned, your whole value system is really easy to see if you're able to look at who you spend your time with, where you spend your money, and where you're spending your energy. And I was spending all of mine trying to attract females, go on dates, impress people, and be a big shot. And I was a little shot. I was like a no shot, actually. And so when I was finally honest with myself and I was like, dude, look, I need to confront this. And number 7, how are you going to take control of these things? I moved down to Miami in 2013 in October 31st was my first day on Halloween. Halloween's a significant holiday for me for some reason. I'll get into that later. I got down to Miami and I made a life decision and I told myself, look, man, I'm going to delete all my dating apps. I'm going to delete all my exes. That was really tough to do. I'm going to delete all the photos that I have with my exes. I'm going to delete eHarmony, Match.com, anything that would allow me to communicate romantically with a female, I banished from my life. And I made an agreement with myself and I said, only for a time period, only for a specific time period. But it wasn't an actual time period. I said, I need to be debt free. And I had $40,000 in debt at that time. I had $800 in my bank account. And I told myself that I would have 0 romantic involvement with girls until I had no debt and I had $100,000 cash sitting in the bank. Now, that's really difficult to do and it's even harder to do in Miami. Let me tell you that. But you can imagine how easy it is to actually hit a financial goal when you hold something like that over to the side. And you're like, dude, I'm not going to reward myself with any of this stuff until I actually achieve this. And ultimately, it didn't take me very long, y'all, to eliminate all my debt and accumulate $100,000 in the bank. It took me 17 months. 17 months, no kisses, no dates, no swipe rights, no chit chat, no exes, no nothing. No kissing, no cuddling, no sex, nothing. 17 months. And I came out of that 17 months as somebody that a girl might actually want to date. I had developed myself. Obviously, I learned a whole lot of things. And now I was actually in a position to go out to a nice dinner instead of go in Splitsville at Chili's or something. And so the point is that there may be a common theme in all of your questions. And if you're really being honest with yourself, there will be a common theme in these answers that you guys are writing down. And as brutal as it might be to be jotting down kind of the same thing and coming to your own conclusion that it's your fault that thing is still your problem, that's the truth. And if you can be honest about those things, again, you can control them. And so the last question is kind of the tricky question. It's well, what am I going to do about all this? If I find myself at the bar too often or happy hours with friends, or maybe I'm part of 13 fantasy football leagues and it's mid-season week number 4. It's what am I going to do? Well, you have to do something. You owe it to yourself now that you have some awareness on the fact that this might be wasting your time, might be wasting your money, might be stealing your energy, might be hurting your relationships, might be developing into a bad habit, and might be stopping you from leveling up. You owe it to yourself to do something. In which case, you might want to consider doing what I did. Say, hey, I'm not doing any of that shit anymore until I have $100,000 or $50,000 or until I have this type of month or whatever. And again, you can apply this on a microscopic level. Say, for instance, my one goal of hitting 10% body fat. Maybe I completely take off the table, sugar or carbs or some of the things I really enjoy. Tacos, maybe. Taco has carbs. Maybe I take that completely off the table until I hit my 10%. And if I love tacos the way that I tell you guys I love tacos, I might find myself at 10% by like tomorrow night. So again, you can apply all of this to like individual things as well, which is a really crucial thing. But the thing again that you need to do is you need to draw up a conclusion and an action plan on how you're actually going to handle those types of things. Because I promise you, if you're aware of those things now and you don't do anything about them, things will actually automatically get worse. Because now you have to justify doing those things that you know that are holding you back, and you're going to give yourself a bunch of bullshit reasons on why you should do more of it or continue doing it without actually controlling or handling it. I guarantee you guys, had I not kind of run this little system and found out that girls were kind of like the reason, the thing that I was getting wrong in my life that was keeping me back, if I hadn't made that decision to make $100,000 before dating girls again, I promise you guys I probably would have stayed broke my entire life. Continuously trying to impress girls and running the same play that was getting me into the same brick wall every single time. And I probably wouldn't have dated a high quality woman anyway, which is going to just make for a bad relationship. And I've been in plenty of those too. So the point is that I want you guys, as you guys are writing some of these things down, and yes, I'm going to call on you guys, and no, you don't have to be like super vulnerable or honest. There might be some really personal things down here. But the thing that I want you guys to do and take a quick moment on is make an agreement with yourself. You guys have heard that thing on Instagram. It's like on the Reels, Kobe Bryant's talking. He's like, yeah, when I create a workout plan or, a goal, like I sign that contract with myself. And that's one thing that I want to encourage you guys to do, whether it's handling a big thing like, dude, I'm not dating anybody for the next 17 months, or maybe it's really small. Like, I'm done eating cheeseburgers unless it's Sunday. Whatever. I want you to write a contract with yourself, figuratively, literally, whatever you need to do, whatever gets you fired up. And I want you to literally follow through with that for at least the next 90 days. As I mentioned earlier, with my guy Elias, we have seen some really, really incredible and unique results by people just simply throwing out their TV or canceling Netflix. I've got a lot of other stories about people doing something similar, about dating people or going to happy hour or whatever it might be. When you're able to give something up like that, this is the final piece of this, is you're letting go. You're creating time. You're literally creating money. And you're literally maintaining or creating energy that you can put somewhere else. And this is another just final personal story. Is when I was in New York City again, that was obviously a pivotal moment in my life. I was at a job that I hated, making $40,000 a year in New York City. It's bullshit. I hated my life. I hated my job. I had a bad attitude at my job. I was the top salesperson over there, but they cut my commission, total bait and switch. But one thing that I did is I realized too that I didn't need at that time to change a couple of things. I needed to change everything along with girls. I poured out all my booze, poured out all my weed. I canceled my Netflix. I literally took my Xbox and threw it out the second story window of my tiny little apartment. Got rid of all my vices, all the things that were wasting my time, my money, and my energy. And then literally, nothing happened. It's not like my job got better. It's not like I all of a sudden fell in love with New York City. Nothing happened. I felt really cool that I did something, but nothing actually ended up happening. What ended up happening was several weeks later, I started opening myself up to places where I could spend my time. Well, I started running a lot. I'd run 10, 11 miles every night because it was the only thing that I could think of doing for 2 hours. So I got in really good shape. Then, of course, I started looking for other opportunities. Since I wasn't escaping my reality, I wasn't sitting on the couch drinking Evan Williams, god-awful whiskey, and smoking weed and playing video games. I'm searching through Twitter, trying to find, maybe some opportunities, and I'm looking at jobs, and I'm just trying to scope things out. So I gave myself time to do those things. I had energy to work out. And of course, I actually was able to save a couple of bucks, which was pivotal in the fact that I actually had to move to Miami. And just literally crossing the Chesapeake Bridge out of New York City, it's $43. I don't think I would have had that had I continued drinking or smoking at that time. So the point is that if you are able to actually handle and control some of these things in your life that might be suppressing your growth or holding you back, you're automatically not going to do shit for yourself. But if you can sustain some of the time that you're buying yourself back, some of that energy and some of the money, I promise you, you're going to literally make room for something else more meaningful, something better, or something that's more productive, or something that's more profitable. And so that's really the lesson today is how can you guys maybe free up some of your headspace, some of your energy, some of your money, some of your time to continue developing your attitude, continue taking a higher level of activity, and of course, continue developing your method and the approach that you're using as you go into your work, as you go into your marriage, as you go into the things that are meaningful to you.